was me overseas, across the pond by the Dover peaks. I've smuggled myself into new nationality.
Hey, what's up everybody? I'm glad that you have tuned back in for another installment here, coming from halfway around the world, coming from in Phnom Penh in Cambodia in Southeast Asia. And so this is my second video. I guess my first video was more of an introductory video, but I was trying to think of what I would do for this video, what I would talk about for my first actual video. Again, like I talked about in my last video, there's a lot of stuff that I can talk about, but I'm thinking for my first video, maybe I'll just give a little description of maybe my first day of when I arrived in Phnom Penh. Actually, my first evening, I came late. So we can start there. So I flew in from the U.S. I left L.A. and I flew to South Korea. I was in Seoul, so I had a layover for maybe an hour or two, and then I flew into Phnom Penh. So I only had one stop. So when I got here, the local time was maybe around 11 or 11:30 p.m. It was a little bit late. So by the time I got through the airport and I got my visa, it was maybe a little after midnight. So now, mind you, I didn't know much about this city. I researched. I've been thinking about coming to Cambodia and Phnom Penh for a while. So I've been researching a lot of like the housing market, the job market, and a lot of like how much things cost. But in terms of the actual layout of the city, I was pretty oblivious actually. So when I get here, I come out of the airport, and all over there's these transportation services. They're called tuk-tuks. So basically, they're like a small motorcycle with like a carriage attached, and that's one of the primary ways that you can get around here. So I get out of the airport, and there's a slew of all these tuk-tuks, and they're all like, "Come here, come here, come here," trying to like get me into their tuk-tuk. So finally, I just get in with one of them, and he's like, "All right, where do you want to go?" And in my head, I'm like, I have no idea. So I just tell him, I was like, I don't know. Like, I just want to go to a hotel. And he's like, okay, I take you. I know somewhere. So I'm like, all right, cool. So it's maybe a 20-minute ride from the airport to where he took me. So he took me to what is called a guest house. So for those of you who aren't familiar with guest houses, basically they're essentially like a hostel. It's like a hotel, and then so this particular one I think was 4 floors, and then some of the areas are like private, like almost like little apartments, and then the rest of them it's just like a big dormitory room with maybe 4 or 5 beds in it. So that's where I stayed when I first got here. I stayed in the actual like dormitory. So anyway, so the tuk-tuk driver takes me to the hotel. It's called Brian Core. It was down in what's called Riverside. For those of you that are familiar with it, or if not, the more you watch my channel, the more you'll understand the different areas. But Riverside's like a very like touristy area. It's the most populated tourist area that there is. So he takes me to my hostel, and I settle in. I pay for one night. I think when I first got here, I think it was $15 a night, maybe. I can't remember, 12 or 15. I think it was 15 at the time. So whatever. So I paid for one night. I was like, I'll be here at least, tonight. I didn't know exactly where I was going to go after that. So when I first get into my room, I'm the only one. So there's like 5 beds in there. Big beds, like queen size beds, pretty decent. And like I said, I'm the only one on my floor. So I had like the whole thing to myself. So I go out on my balcony, and this will come into factor later. But I go out on my balcony, and I just randomly take a couple of pictures. Like, I'm like, oh my god, I'm in Cambodia, I'm so excited. Like, it's the first time that I have, like, where I wasn't just getting out of the airport and on the tuk-tuk, where I could actually, like, have a second. And I just took, like, 2 or 3 just, like, completely random pictures of looking down from my balcony. Now, most of my balcony was, like, there's, like, trees and stuff, so you couldn't even see that much. But it was whatever. I was just excited to be in Cambodia, in Phnom Penh, and snapping a couple photos. So, like I said, it's already late at this point. It's like maybe 1 o'clock in the morning. So I had a couple options. I could just go to bed, but I was very thrilled. It's, traveling is always like an awesome experience, especially when you're going completely to the other side of the world, somewhere you've never been before. So I was like, I'm not going to sleep yet. There's no way. So the first thing that I do is in the area that I was in again. It's called Riverside, because it is on right on the side of the river. There's the river that runs right by Phnom Penh, and my hotel or my hostel, whatever, guest house, was like 2 blocks from the river, 2.5 blocks from the river. So I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where anything is. I'm just gonna walk down. So I'm walking around and I get to this river and I'm sitting on this bench. Before I get to that, I got some street food. So I got this. It's like chicken on like skewers, but it's like I don't know what part of the chicken is. It might be like hearts or something, but it was really good. So it was just like chicken on skewers. I think I paid like 25 cents for 1 skewer, so I probably got like 3 or 4 of them. So I spent like $1 and like a nice little snack. So I'm sitting on the bench by the river late at night, and all of a sudden there's like these 3 girls like strolling up to me. So already I'm like this seems a little bit shady. They just had, a little look in their eye. So I'm sitting there, I'm just trying to like enjoy myself. And like they sit down and then they try to like start talking to me in like broken English. And I mean, obviously, like I had a very good inclination. They were probably, ladies of the night. So they're trying to talk to me, and honestly, like I don't want any part of it. Like I also don't want to be rude, so I'm not like, I don't know what to say. Like I'm trying to just kind of avoid eye contact and like just eat my food. And like when they ask me a question, like So this goes on for a while. Then eventually I'm like, I gotta go. Like I'm starting to get annoyed, so I'm just trying to like enjoy myself a little bit. So I walk around a little bit more, and then eventually I find this bar that had specials for like 50 cents a draft beer. So it's like whatever. I was like, I'll drink a couple beers. So I had a couple beers, and then I got bored there. I went to another place, and then maybe I don't know. I went to maybe 3 or 4 bars, just having 1 or 2 beers at each place. So at this point, I'm not drunk, but I'm a little bit inebriated. And also at this point, I may have strolled 3 or 4 blocks from my actual guest house. So at this point, it's probably 2 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, I gotta go. Like, I'm just gonna go back to my guest house and get some sleep. Whatever. And then that's when it hits me. I'm like, I kind of know where my guest house is, but I'm not exactly sure. And on top of that, I didn't know what my guest house was called. I had no idea what the name of it was. Not a clue. I went in, like I said, when I got there, I went up to my room, took those couple of pictures, looked around for a little bit, and then went out and left. I didn't think to find out the name of my guest house. Terrible mistake. So if you ever come here and travel anywhere you don't know where it is, make sure you know where you are first. So anyway, at the same time when I'm walking around, I'm like, okay, I know I didn't walk that far. Maybe I'm 3 or 4 blocks or so from where I was, but I'm walking and walking, going up and down every single street, every block, and I have no idea where my guest house is. And I walk past the same things, it's called Panda Mart. They have these little marts on the corner, little 7-Eleven kind of things. And I walk past this same one 5 times, just going up and down every block. And then there's other ones, and I keep passing the same stuff, and I'm lost. I don't know where I am. So in my head, I'm like, Eureka! I remember I took that picture from my balcony in my hotel. I was like, maybe this can save me. Like I said, mostly it's just trees. But through the trees, you can see a little bit of a window that has vinyl on it. And it says, Sary's Guest House. You can't see where it says guest house because it's covered by the trees. You can see where it says Sary's, S-A-R-A-A-Y''S. So I'm like, okay, somebody maybe will know that this is. So there's a moto driver. So like I told you, they were tuk-tuks, so they're like a motorcycle kind of has a carriage on the back. You can take those, or there's also just moto drivers. They just basically drive a little motorcycle, and you just hop on the back of it, and they take you where they need to go. They're maybe half the price or less of a tuk-tuk, so they're a little bit more economic. But they're all over the city, constantly 24 hours. But anyway, so one of the moto drivers is like, hey, you need to ride somewhere. So I take out my phone, And this is my first experience learning that tuk-tuk drivers will always, or moto drivers, will 100% of the time always tell you they know where something is and that they know where they're going. When in reality, it's like, I don't know if outside of like going to like a big tourist attraction, if a moto or tuk-tuk driver has actually ever known where I've had to go. Like, ever known where I've had to go. Like, generally I can kind of describe the area and we can find it, but either way, they will always tell you they know where something is. So I point to my phone, I show them where it says Sari's. It doesn't say Sari's guest house, but I know it now that it's what it was. So it says Sari's. So I'm like, do you know where this building is? And he's like, yeah, I take you. I'm like, oh, thank God, perfect, because it's right across the street from my, like, where I'm staying, so I know, like, that'll be good. So I get on this moto, and we're driving, all of a sudden I'm like, dude, like, we've probably gone, like, 2 or 3 kilometers at this point, like, I was like, I don't think I walked more than a few blocks from where I was, you know, maybe I went 6 blocks and I miscalculated, but maybe, like, 3/4 of a kilometer, like, I don't think I went 1 kilometer, we're, you know, 2 or 3 kilometers. So, like, I'm tapping him, like, I don't think this is it, and he's just, like, nodding at me, whatever. So we get to this bar, and he's like, okay, get out. And it's like, it's not even a bar, it's like a nightclub, like a really like nice, like red carpet nightclub. And I'm like, dude, I was like, this is not at all like where I'm supposed to be. And he doesn't really speak English, so he doesn't understand. So luckily, as in a lot of instances, there's usually someone around that can speak decent English. So when we were at the nightclub, somebody was out there, and I asked them like, hey, do you speak English? And they're like, yeah. So I tell them where I'm trying to go, and they have no idea where this is. I show them on the phone, like, I don't know where that is. So I tell them, just tell the moto driver to drive me back to where he picked me up. So he drives me back. And again, it doesn't help because now I'm just back at square one, like where I first found him. And I still have no idea where my guest house is. So I get out, and there's a bar next to where he dropped me off. In Riverside, there's bars everywhere. So it's, anywhere you go, you're always next to a bar. So anyway, so there's a bar, and there happened to be the owner of the bar happened to be standing outside, and she was cool, so I was trying to ask her, like, you know, where is this? And she's like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden she's like, wait, I think it's right here. And she literally points to like the next building over, and it's right there. And I see on the window it says Sari's. I'm like, oh, this is it. And then I look across the street, and I'm like, oh, there's my hotel. But looking back on it, what happened was I probably literally walked past my guest house like 10 times. And the thing was, when I got there, the guest house is still active. So they had like furniture outside, all the lights were on, people were outside drinking, like hanging out, all the doors were open. But what I didn't know happened is at a certain time, they turn off all the lights, take everything inside, and it just looks like a completely different place. But either way, I got home, and it was probably like 4 or 5 in the morning. I probably didn't go to sleep until, or I'm sure I didn't. I remember being awake, and the sun was coming up, and I remember the city being very, very loud in the morning. But yeah, so that was my first night. It was already just in one night. It was a super huge adventure, and it was a little bit scary. But yeah, moral of this story, man: before you go out and you're somewhere new, like I have to tell myself this, like, know where you are, because it could have saved me a lot of time and hassle and money paying the motor.